May the words of my lips and the meditations of our hearts be always acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. It has all been a little too much for me. I need to sit for a moment, to sit and try to still my mind, to quieten my soul, at least for a few moments. I need to pull myself together so that I can rest in the loving arms of God on this Good Friday morn. To do that is not easy on a day like today. Over the past few months, my world and yours has been turned upside down by the spread of the COVID-19 virus. The infection has spread like wildfire. There are no exceptions as to whom it has affected. In country after country, a new norm has emerged, a norm of self-isolation and social distancing, a norm of fear, loneliness, and for some, even panic, a norm of hearing every day the list of how many have been affected, how many have died, and thankfully how many have recovered. It has all been a little too much for me. Now, for the first time in distant memory, I find myself unable to worship together with you, my sisters and brothers, face to face in a church on this Good Friday. I've watched a number of services online. I participated in a Zoom Lenten study led by Bishop Andrew, our diocesan bishop. I've listened to hymns that do indeed lift my soul. I've led worship with you via telephone conference calls. However, it's not the same as sitting in St. Mary Magdalene Schomburg and Christ Church Kettleby, lifting our voices in song and prayer and breaking bread together in the Holy Eucharist. It has all been a little too much for me. I asked you in my Palm Sunday service not to focus on you and what you need and want from God in your journey through Holy Week. Yet here I am doing just that. Where is it all coming from? I find year in and year out that entering into all the readings that take me from Palm Sunday to Good Friday, a difficult journey. I try to stay focused on Jesus. I watch with horror as he is belittled, betrayed, mocked, and beaten. I stand aghast as one who brought healing and hope to so many is now cast away, rejected, and sentenced to death. I suffer at the foot of the cross with Mary, Jesus' mother, and the other onlookers, as they hear the cry, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And watch as Jesus gives up his final breath. All hope is now seemingly shattered. Holy Week is often a time when my sense of unworthiness springs up afresh in the dark shadows of my mind. I can be hard on myself during these times of introspection. It's like being trapped with no clear way out. Yes, it's all too much for me, until I take notice of the light shining into all my darkness. Both you and I have a choice. We can wallow in our unworthiness, recognizing that all of us fall short of what God asks of us. Or we can stand in the midst of Jesus' suffering and death and reclaim anew who we are and whose we are. If nothing else, the message that shines out from the cross on Good Friday assures us that we are followers of Jesus and God's beloved, who have been marked as Christ's own forever. Nothing, writes St. Paul to the church in Rome, can separate us from the love of God. Nothing. To bring us this reality, Jesus walked the way of the cross. We too are called to walk a path of suffering, to step into our own suffering and the pain and anguish of others, because it is there that we will find Jesus and life in all its fullness. We see it time and time again in the Gospels. The sick, the blind, the lame, the outcast, the marginalized. They are the ones that Jesus seeks out. They are the ones who are forgiven and healed, the ones whose lives are given new hope. The prophets call Israel to the same path. Micah writes, "What does the Lord require of thee? But to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God." Surely it is a call to us to be God's light in the world. My friends, sit with me a little longer. Lay your burdens, the burdens of your life, at the foot of the glorious cross. Know that the one whose death we mark this day, the one who, in his cry, my God, why have you forsaken them?" was not overcome by it all. This is how you and I may feel. Forsaken. It was not what Jesus felt. Even as the sky darkened and the earth shook, God's light of hope was never fully extinguished. Its light has shone from the beginning of time. It leads each of us home to find rest and peace in the loving arms of our God. It is the light that God gives us each and every day, inviting us as servants to respond to the needs of the world around us, and even in the depths of despair, to proclaim God's love, God's hope, God's peace, a peace which passes all understanding, in all we say and in all we do. Surely then I discover in you that it is all not too much for me to bear. Amen.